Greetings, everyone. Here we are again, another opportunity for me and Miss Dr. Clara Mosley to have an incredible conversation that is going to enlighten and intrigue and expand us. How you doing, Dr. Clara?
Oh, you know, I'm just being, which is wonderful and amazing.
Mm, I'm so grateful that I'm so grateful that that you have that conversation about beingness, because that's something that we don't often get to discuss, especially from the perspective of women and Black women's bodies, because there's so much doingness that's attached to this.
Yes, yes. And that's where everything went to hell. And do it. It's because it's called struggle and
Mhm,
effort. It brings up questioning ourselves, you
mhm,
know, and it takes us away from what it is to simply be
mm,
into doing in order to and so that and because.
mhm.
And therein we lose ourselves.
Oh gosh, you just said so much in that split second. So, thank you for that. I would like to pray us in,
Yeah.
just so that people who are listening to this video can um, understand that we function in an order.
Yes. 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 And just before you pray us in, let me say what it is when you say pray us in. Pray us into our innermost being
Yes.
that's uninvolved and unaffected and untouched and unabsorbed by anything
Mm.
of time. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it
We just get to rest in the stillness within. I call this stillness the temple of soul,
is. Mm.
or the sanctuary of the Most High I am. But it is and was before first airborne breath was drawn, before first cell was formed. We return into the infinite,
Mm.
the vastness, the boundlessness of being
Mm-hmm.
without distraction. And here we connect beyond time and distance. Here we connect beyond form. We
Mm.
connect in the timelessness of this present now moment. We are grounded, we're anchored, we are centered. And in the ebb and flow of all that comes forth, we bear witness, called it good and very good. And so it is.
And so it is.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ooh, I just felt eternity sit down with me.
Which is your core.
Yes.
Your core is eternal.
Yes.
You thought it was of time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You mean the human factor
Yes, yes, yes.
and its personality.
Mm. Ashe.
Okay.
So today, I, first of all, I want to say how excited I am for us to be having these conversations,
Yeah.
because over the years that I have been in relationship with you, you have said so many things that have stayed with me, nuggets worth priceless things that I have just been able to sit with and be curious about. And one of the things that you said to me many years ago before I got married, it was right before when I was really in a contemplation of marriage, and you said, well, marriage is for men.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what the fuck does she mean? Sorry, excuse my language. But that's where that took me. It took me into a deep query with myself, because I didn't understand what you meant. I had never heard anyone say that, but it rang as true.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
So I want to revisit that. You said that to me maybe 20 years ago, and I want to have a conversation about that today, because I think that many other women would benefit from this conversation.
Yes. It's a great conversation because I really consider that as women, as beings, we must rethink everything. Mm-hmm. And that includes marriage. Mm-hmm. And so this week I was doing some research for a talk I have coming up. And I remembered in the Bible, which is an interesting book. People forget it wasn't always a book. But so for an interesting book, but what's written in there by men, by the way, mostly because a lot of the women writings were not included, very few. And it says that this creator that we call by many names, typically we call it God in our environment, that male and female created he, them. So, and then it says that God had created the male and female of every species except Homo sapiens. That's how we're now referred to in the evolution of how we reference as human. And that the purpose for creating women was that the male was lonely, Adam, and didn't have anyone equal, it's never right, it says equal to himself. So therefore he put Adam to sleep, and Adam gave birth to a woman from the rib of his ribs. That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
So in the beginning, somewhere in consciousness, women were seen as to help. They forgot for equal as. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's no inequity. There's no inequity. But the way it rolled, because it seems that Adam gave life to a woman. Now, in reality, when it says Adam really is Adam, meaning the human race, not a single male entity with a penis. That's right. What we was talking about.
Right. He is atom, Atom.
Hello.
Yes.
Right there. And so women have been conditioned to think you grow up, you get a husband, you have babies, you work to please the man, and you cook, you clean, you wash, you take care of whatever his requirements are on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was, I think in the masculine ego, when children start to be born, men want to make sure their babies were theirs. Mm-hmm. So they ordained marriage to lock down the expression of what it is to be a woman in her fullness, especially her sexuality. Yes. Men always had concubines, and so the way it rolls, if you go back into ancient history, it's like a man could divorce a woman, and if that woman remarried or had sex, she was sin, and it was called fornication. Mm-hmm. And so you see, but before men, it was not so. And that's how it is. The story goes when in the Bible, when the woman who they claimed was a prostitute, Jezebel, the one who claimed had 5 husbands, therefore she was sinning. When she came to draw water from the well, and the men, not one woman in the crowd, the men were to stone her. And so the man Jesus, who was in his God state of being, the highest state, said, well, whoever is without sin, whoever is flawed, whoever is all that, go ahead and talk bad about her, tear her down. Go ahead, cast that first stone. They all dropped their flipping heads, walked away, and left in their own shame, really, with all due respect. Yes. So then he said, well, where are your accusers? She said, I had none. He said, neither do I accuse you. So men accuse women of causing Adam to sin, I'm saying. Yes. Causing sin, attempting Adam to eat the fruit. Well, come on. That was like information in the intelligence, the innate intelligence of a woman sharing with her counterpart
Mm-hmm.
called the male, the masculine. But when you look at it, really, the reality, there's not the male and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Male in FE-MALE.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Male in FEMA. Woman, WO-MAN, woe, man. WO-woe, man.
So what I hear you saying is that within the female is the male.
Believe it.
Within the woman is the man, and not the other way around.
But never meant to be the helpmate. We're meant to be.
Yes.
In full expression.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the magicalness of the feminine has been very intimidating.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, like in ancient days, they say, "Oh, burn her, she's a witch."
Mm-hmm.
You know, or she caused me to desire her. Do you hear that crazy stuff?
Yes. Yes.
So to subdue a woman, you're my wife.
Yes.
And you follow, and so here are the expectations of who you are as my wife. Well, I'm a woman who is your wife. To be a wife is a role, not my being.
Mm.
That distinction, that is a major distinction.
There is something so phenomenal about womanhood, and you have to be a woman to understand it. And when you do, you understand why they have become psychotic around our beingness, right? And it comes down to this. It's such an interesting thing. Like you said, they created marriage so that they can know that the children that the women have are theirs. And that is a fascinating experience, because as a woman, when you get pregnant, it's very clear that you are the only person who really knows whose child this is.
And it's very clear also that it is the shedding of your blood that gives life to a man.
Yes.
That's what's very clear.
Yes.
And that's what they want to claim, that power. So when they claim your power is to subdue, you become subdued as a wife came. And you know, and so you're the natural magic of what it is to be a woman. The man begins to, in his ego,
Yes.
okay, and his insecurity, because that is separation in consciousness. He had forgotten to own that part of himself that he sees in your magic, because men are also magical. Mm-hmm. But they forgot to see that when you want to own the power, you want to take it over, you want to dominate, control it. Right. You know. So look at this. You give me your, no longer you have your father's name. You now take my name. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm married and I wear my husband's name, but my being is what I am. Yes. And that's what he loves. The little girl that is playful, mm-hmm. the lady that is sassy and sensuous, and the woman who knows what she's all about, as one. When a man has issue with the woman that you are, your strength of being, when he has issue with, how you bring alive the energy, when he has issue with like you're light and playful and free, you don't have a man, you have a situation, you have a problem.
Oh my God, you have a situation. When he takes issue with your beingness, yes, you have a problem, yes. Not a man.
Not a man. And that problem becomes a situation from which you find yourself wondering, what the hell are you doing? Because now you're no longer being, but you're putting up with. You're mediating. You're compromising.
You're negotiating.
Yes. For less than the being of your natural being, which is magical.
that
and
I am,
mystical and mystical.
yeah, that's right. And not to be controlled, not to
Exactly.
be understood. We flourish in the unknown. We
Exactly.
flourish in our ability to be in a constant state of being
Exactly.
and becoming
Exactly.
without any external forces attempting to control it.
Exactly. Because then you lose what it is to be.
Mm,
It's very costly. And so when you are attracted to a man, or when a man is attracted to you, you better be clear on what of you is he attracted, what attracts him to your being, not to how you look, not to what you have,
mhm,
but what of your being attracts him.
mm. I'm getting high right now. I'm about to float on out of here because that is a clear distinction.
Yes, it is.
That is a clear distinction. And the thing that I hear in that is that if I don't know what my being is, if I don't know it, then I cannot be clear about what a man is attracted to. And if I have not gotten to become very acquainted with my beingness,
Exactly.
then I cannot determine or even understand what I'm doing in relationship with another.
Because when you're unknown within your own being, how can another know you? Right there. So take a moment.
Yes.
You just take a moment. Go, wait a minute. Let me be clear with myself about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can feel what I am within the energy of a man, and some women marry women, so but I carry that dominant male energy, same thing applies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was surprised when I learned there's a lot of violence too among same-sex marriages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that means the energy, there's an imbalance. It's all about you either in balance or out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Male and female wrapped around, hugged up,
Yes.
recognized, appreciated, honored.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important. So when I am unclear about myself, how I show up with another will be misrepresented. And then when they treat me accordingly, you just like, oh, I once told a guy, he was talking real crazy to me, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was making sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened and I didn't interrupt. And when he was done, I said, there is nothing about me that is ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not attracted to men who are ordinary. So we're not a match.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect you away from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never going to be less than myself to be with you.
Oh.
Yeah. So I remember once when I used to have a dress shop years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this one customer, I said to her, she was going to an event. I said, "Oh, I have these backless jumpsuits. You have such a great body. This is for you." She said, "I can't wear backless because I have scars." I said, "Oh, we have makeup for scars." But what I didn't know she meant was she had wounds. So, and I said, "My goodness," because I was younger then. I didn't know not to say this. I said, "My goodness, what happened?" So she said, "That man I have." I said, "Well, you better get rid of him." I was in my late 20s. She says, "You see that car out there?
Mm-hmm.
He gave me that." She had pride.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You can buy your own ass a car."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "But for every wound I have, he has one too." And she felt her, she was feeling herself within, but that wasn't herself she was feeling. She was feeling her brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she was feeling, not her being. Your being is not, it's brokenness. That's trauma. That's unhealed trauma. You know, on a mental, psychological, emotional level, there's unhealed trauma.
Yes.
So you will you would feel that and call it how I feel about you and how I feel about myself. No, that's your brokenness.
Yes.
You become aware of that and you feel it to release it, not to reach out and have symbols to represent and hold you in that holding pattern. So
Right.
when you're in a situation that keeps you in a holding pattern that's less than what it is to be a playful little girl
Mm-hmm.
and a sassy, sexy woman, lady, sexy said lady, and a woman who's clear and speaks herself. You never have to speak up because you speak as yourself. That's male and female created he, him. A woman must have created a man because male and FE-MALE. And then she went, whoa, WO-M, whoa, man. Let me see what has to happen here. Let me come forth and draw the masculine into the feminine in balance as one integrated whole being. And then be being. And you have to listen that because there's so much stuff that comes up like, what must I do and how do I do that? See, that's all the personality looking to keep you under wraps.
Yes.
That's the masculine energy, straight stone male energy. And the feminine goes, which is the discovery of what was before you fell asleep. The discovery of what you are is the wisdom within, the wisdom intelligence. That's the discovery. So the male discovers more about himself within the female. That's why men have to embrace both the masculine and the feminine energy. It's just energy, for goodness sake. To embrace both. But when men are afraid of that part of themselves, once I did a prison ministry, and so I was working with them to pray for each other in prison. And they said, well, that would be vulnerable, was seen as a weakness. And he never prayed for someone. So they were afraid of what it was to be tender. They were afraid of what it was to be compassionate. They were afraid of what it was to be generous and kind. Because they were so used to being hard, okay, and having dominion that they were dominated by their own.
Yes. Oh, what a powerful thing. Thank you. So there was something else that I've heard you say that I really want you to add to this conversation, because you shared with me before that when you were ready to be married, you decided that you said, I'm going to meet myself in a man.
Yes, exactly. Because if I don't meet myself in a man, then I haven't met the man. That's for me. So I decided to be clear about what was important to me in what I called a relationship, which is different than about a man. Okay, because relationship is not an is anything. It's always in the occurring. Okay, so I decided to be real clear. So I sat down and I began to make 2-line journal notes as to what was important to me in a relationship. And as I did, I noticed I go, oh, this is what I think I can get. So let me discard, that doesn't count. So I throw those lists away every time. What I think I can get, or what I think is possible. No, what is important to me in a relationship? And here's how I define relationship. It is nurturing. It is empowering. Okay. It is givingness. That's what's important to me. Oh, so what's important is what it is to be at home with myself, with another. That was important to me.
Yeah.
How will I know I'm at home with myself with another? Well, if I feel nurtured, okay, that's true of me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I experience thoughtfulness? That's my experience of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at my experience of myself. You see?
You looked at who you are so that you could determine where you would find that in a masculine being.
If it was like whether that was my experience with a
Yes.
masculine being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it either was or it wasn't. There was no such thing as somewhat. There's no such thing as trying. That's
Mm-hmm.
all a way of deceiving oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So I got real clear, like, oh, what's important to me. And I had a son because I had been married before. And I had no idea what I was doing because it didn't work. And I could have left it shortly after the ceremony, but I didn't. so I had a son, and I know it's important to me that who this man represents what it is to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because a man can do something doesn't mean it's to be done. That means because they have the strength and they have the authority. No. So for me, okay, someone who progressive
Mm-hmm.
in thinking, that's important in a relationship. Spontaneity, that's important to me in a relationship. Really cares about the quality of life for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to be in a relationship because that's important to me of myself.
Yes.
What's important to me of myself, I'm not going to give that up to marry you.
Yes. Thank you, because that is what you're saying is so profoundly significant because it is based on your beingness.
Mm-hmm.
You are the blueprint and you are the standard, and you don't abandon yourself. So one of the things that I experience with my own clients and in my own life is that we abandon our own beingness because we believe that we have to in order to have what we think we want. But you're saying the exact opposite. You're saying something completely different than that. So continue.
So when you experience neglect with him, guess what? That's what you showed. That's how you showed up. That's your being. Abandonment, that's your being. That's what you showed. That's what you showed. So, but of course, you created that. You created in him who you were with yourself, and you called his name and forgot to call yours.
Come on, Dr. Clara Mosley. Come now. All right. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I've been married over 40 years. My husband's so clear who he's married to. He's clear who I am and who I'm not. And he knows who I am. Who you are and who you're not, that's who you are. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's no adjusting here. And so early in our marriage, in the first year, and we had bought this house, and he was having some youth statements. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't give them and I don't accept them. Mm-hmm. So he was saying, you blah, 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 la, la, la. So I listened very carefully. And I said, I so appreciate you're sharing with me how it is for you, because it's important to me how it is for you, so that you're not keeping it inside of you, and you sharing that I consider that's a gift of your being to me. And what I have to tell you is, I take no responsibility for your experience. And I don't give you you're not responsible for my experience. So I'm just going to share with you how it is for me, because it's important that we each know how it is with ourselves, with each other. Mm-hmm. How it is for me with you and how it is for you with me. It's important that we know that, because that's the space that we come together in what we call relationship. Mm-hmm. If we don't understand what's in the space, you're not going to have a relationship. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we each, I said, so, and whatever comes out of this, that will be the space of our relationship. Mm-hmm. Or not. Mm-hmm. See, there's no attachment here.
Okay. Literally.
Yeah. And so we got it, we got it. So now you know how to work with yourself, with that part of yourself that you have his name on,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. So, because if it's important to you how it is for me, and if it's important to me how it is for you, we're being with that. We're not trying to fix it.
Yes.
You can't fix a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We're being with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're being with it, something comes out of it. Something is possible. It's otherwise not possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is potential in what's possible. And there's possibility and potential. But when you're being with it and not messing around with it, not trying to fix it and form and script it and do it and not do it, that's work. That's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't, a woman is not to help you work. Woman is to be in the flow of being.
Mm-hmm.
Male and female. Man and woman. He and her.
Mm-hmm.
And she.
That's right.
Him created them. Inseparable. Inseparable. And so marriage symbolizes the inseparability of one, the experiential being of one,
Mm-hmm.
the two as one, where two gives way to one. So it's a whole other math. And so there's a saying I love, when whole beings come together, when I'm complete within myself, within my being,
Mm-hmm.
and you are complete within your being, therein we have what's called part union or partnership. And what's possible is love, because that's what we are at the core.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a beautiful dance and a beautiful, like the language around it is so simple and true. And everything else I hear around relationship does not make it this simple. Like it's all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't do relationship. You can't get one. You can be being in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And who you are with yourself is the space where it all takes place. Where you each are with yourself, within yourself is the space. And so it's important not to have a delayed introduction to someone you're attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you missed your being within him, you're now in for you set up a delayed introduction to him or her.
Mm. If you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because you won't be yourself. So who's he meeting? Who is he or she meeting?
Oh, that's right. The representative. The representative.
An illusion. You mean a mediated self.
That's
and then
right.
you look, and then you're looking to have someone meet your needs. You're looking for someone to see you when you're not yet. You're not visible to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
You are a shadow self.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you have said so much that we're going to just let this simmer
Okay.
for until our next meeting on next week. And so with that, I just want to give thanks to the ancestral reality that is moving through us, helping us remember to be true to ourselves, to be with ourselves, that we are enough, that we are whole, perfect, and complete within our own beingness, that there's nothing that can add to who we are, nothing can take away from who we are. We come to this plane already succinct in our beingness. And for that, I'm grateful.
And I too abide in gratitude. Ashe.
Ashe.
A woman to every woman and every man. And something you said, Mama Monique, that's for another conversation. You said, when we come with everything. And then we give it all away. Let's talk about that another time.
Okay. So tune in next time, you all, because we already have our conversation set.